What if I told you that the difference between struggling and thriving isn't luck, talent, or hard work, but as your frequency? That right now, in this very moment, you hold the power to shift from scarcity to superabundance, not by chasing more, but by tuning into a higher version of yourself. This isn't just motivation. It's a mental and energetic reset that will transform how you think, feel, act, and attract. If you're tired of surviving and ready to start creating, then keep listening. Because your breakthrough begins with one decision to change your frequency and change your life. Scarcity begins in the mind long before it appears in the material world. It is not a condition imposed by the universe, but a belief system adopted through years of conditioning, fear, and repeated exposure to limitation-based thinking. Most people grow up surrounded by language and attitudes that reinforce this idea. We can't afford that. There's not enough to go around. Money doesn't grow on trees. And you have to struggle to survive. These thoughts don't simply float through the mind and disappear. They take root, they grow, and they shape a person's expectations of what life can offer. Over time, these seeds of scarcity become a lens through which the world is viewed, distorting what is possible and creating self-imposed ceilings on success, happiness, and abundance. This scarcity mindset seeps into every corner of life. It influences the way people pursue relationships, choose careers, handle money, and even dream. When someone believes there is never enough, not enough love, not enough opportunity, not enough time, they begin to live small. They settle, they compromise. They shrink their desires to match what they think is possible, rather than expanding their beliefs to match what they truly want. Scarcity is a quiet thief that steals potential not by force, but by convincing its host that the dream was never realistic to begin with. The mind, when conditioned by scarcity, becomes a filter that only sees evidence of lack. It overlooks opportunities, dismisses blessings, and rejects abundance even when it's knocking at the door. A person in scarcity can walk through a room full of possibility and walk out with nothing, because their internal radar was never tuned to receive. This mindset creates a loop. What you expect is what you perceive, and what you perceive reinforces what you believe. And so, scarcity keeps repeating itself, not because the world is poor, but because the individual has become blind to the riches around them. This belief system is powerful not because it is true, but because it is accepted as true. The mind does not differentiate between fact and belief. It simply responds to whatever thoughts are most dominant. If scarcity is what fills the mental space, then scarcity will become the reality, not because it has to, but because it was invited. Thoughts are creative. They are the architects of reality. When thoughts are limited, life becomes limited. When thoughts are fearful, life becomes constricted. Scarcity in the external world is often nothing more than the outer expression of internal limitation. Most people who live in scarcity are not lazy or undeserving. They are simply unaware that they are operating under a false premise, a story they've repeated for so long that it feels like truth. But the world does not operate by the rules of fear. It operates by the rules of energy, vibration, and belief. Those who live in abundance are not always the most skilled or the most fortunate. They are simply those who have tuned their minds to a different frequency, one that does not recognize lack as the final word. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. This truth is often misunderstood because most people believe that strong desire alone is enough to bring something into their lives. But desire without internal alignment is like planting seeds in frozen ground. No matter how many you scatter, they will not grow unless the environment is ready to support them. Attraction is not determined by wishes whispered into the air. It is shaped by the emotional and energetic state of the individual. If your dominant thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, envy, or lack, then that frequency becomes your magnet, and it draws to you circumstances that reflect those emotions. Wanting wealth while constantly feeling broke will not bring money. Wanting love while feeling unworthy will not bring healthy relationships. Wanting success while nurturing a fear of failure will only produce more hesitation and missed opportunities. The universe is not responding to your wants, it is responding to your vibration. Every thought you think and every feeling you maintain emits a frequency, and that frequency acts like a signal, attracting experiences that match its tone. You can want abundance with all your heart, but if your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are aligned with scarcity, that is the message you are sending out. This is why personal transformation is so crucial. It is not enough to change your vision board or speak affirmations once a day. You must become the version of yourself who already lives in alignment with the life you desire. This means adopting new habits of thought, releasing limiting beliefs, and replacing fear with faith. It means developing the emotional intelligence to recognize when your inner state is out of sync with your goals and having the discipline to shift it back. You must train your subconscious mind to believe in possibilities beyond your current circumstances, because it is the subconscious that truly drives behavior and perception. Many people wonder why, despite working hard or setting clear goals, their life does not improve in the way they hoped. The answer lies not in effort alone, but in identity. You cannot consistently outperform your own self-image. If deep down you still see yourself as someone who struggles, who is unlucky, who never gets the break, then no matter what you try, life will find a way to match that internal script. The key is to change not just your behavior, but your state of being. Shift how you see yourself, how you speak to yourself, and how you feel about your future. Start thinking, speaking, and acting like the version of you who already has what you're aiming for. This shift in identity is the foundation of true attraction. You become magnetic not because you chase, but because you resonate. You don't force success into your life. You align with it. When your thoughts, feelings, and energy match the reality you desire, the world bends in your favor without resistance, because you have become the kind of person who naturally attracts it. Your mind is a frequency transmitter, constantly sending out signals through your dominant thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. These signals operate on a vibrational level, invisible to the eye yet powerful enough to shape the circumstances of your life. Just as a radio station broadcasts on a specific frequency and only picks up channels that match it, your mind operates in the same way. Whatever you think about repeatedly, whatever emotions you dwell in, sets the tone for the frequency you're tuned into. That frequency determines what people, opportunities, challenges, and outcomes are attracted into your reality. This is not wishful thinking or metaphysical fantasy. It is a reflection of how energy operates. Your thoughts are not isolated. They are creative forces that influence the field around you. When you continuously think thoughts of worry, stress, and lack, you are unconsciously tuning your mind to a channel where similar experiences await. You begin to notice more problems, attract people who reinforce your limiting beliefs, and feel trapped in a cycle you don't understand. This is not punishment, it is feedback. The universe mirrors your internal state. Change the signal and the mirror changes. The key is becoming aware of what signal you're sending out right now. Most people operate on autopilot, broadcasting doubt, fear, and limitation without realizing it. They then blame their circumstances, not knowing that those circumstances were responding to the exact frequency they have been transmitting for years. The beautiful truth is that you are never stuck. At any moment, you can choose to change your mental frequency. It begins with awareness, pausing long enough to observe your thoughts and question their validity. Are these thoughts supporting the life I want? Are they based in fear or in faith? Are they lifting my energy or draining it? Once you become conscious of the signal, you have the power to shift it. Start by intentionally choosing new thoughts, even if they feel uncomfortable at first. Practice gratitude even when you feel like there's little to be grateful for. Speak words of abundance, even when your bank account says otherwise. Act as if you are already on the frequency of your dream life, and soon your outer world will start to reflect it. This process is not about faking or forcing, it is about tuning. Just like adjusting the dial on a radio, small shifts in thinking and feeling can dramatically alter what you experience. A mind tuned to faith sees possibilities where others see problems. A mind tuned to abundance finds opportunities in the same places others find obstacles. A mind tuned to joy creates relationships and outcomes that reflect joy. The frequency you choose determines the life you live. You are always transmitting. You are always attracting. The only question is whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously. Mastering this awareness is the key to moving from chaos to clarity, from struggle to flow, from scarcity to superabundance, and from limitation to limitless potential. Tuning your mind to the frequency of abundance requires conscious effort, deep awareness, and a willingness to release old patterns of thinking. Just as a radio cannot play two stations at once, your mind cannot simultaneously hold both abundance and scarcity. You must choose which frequency you will live on. Many people claim to want abundance, but their thoughts are filled with worry about bills, their words revolve around what they lack, and their emotions reflect fear and anxiety. That is not the frequency of abundance. That is the frequency of lack, and it repels the very outcomes they say they desire. To truly tune into abundance, you must think, feel, speak, and act as though abundance is already your reality. This tuning process begins within. You must monitor your self-talk, the constant inner dialogue running through your mind. When a bill arrives, do you say, "I never have enough"? Or do you say, "I always find a way to meet my needs"? When you see someone else succeed, do you feel envy and lack, or do you feel inspired and reminded that abundance is available to all? These micro moments of thought are not insignificant, they are signals. Each one sends a message to the universe about the world you expect to live in. If you constantly expect struggle, you will find more struggle. If you expect increase, you will begin to experience increase. Your emotions are also powerful indicators of your frequency. Pay attention to how you feel, because your feelings are vibrational signals. When you feel gratitude, joy, peace, and love, you are vibrating at the frequency of abundance. When you feel anger, stress, resentment, or jealousy, you are aligned with lack. This does not mean you must suppress negative emotions, but it does mean you must not dwell in them. Emotions are like visitors. Acknowledge them, understand them, and then choose to guide yourself back to a higher state. Through practices like meditation, affirmations, visualization, and conscious breathing, you can recalibrate your emotional state and realign with the energy of abundance. Your language also plays a vital role in the frequency you hold. Words carry energy. Every time you speak, you reinforce a belief. When you say things like, "I can't afford that," "Nothing ever works out for me," or "People like me don't get ahead," you are tuning your signal to scarcity. But when you speak in ways that affirm your worth, your power, and your vision, statements like, "Opportunities are always flowing to me," "Money comes to me easily and frequently," or "I am aligned with wealth and success," you begin to shift your frequency toward abundance. Over time, your reality begins to catch up with your language. Action also plays a crucial role in tuning your frequency. Your behavior must be congruent with the life you want. If you want to live abundantly, you must stop making decisions based on fear. Act with confidence, invest in yourself, give generously, and take bold steps in the direction of your dreams. These actions reinforce the belief that abundance is your natural state, not a distant hope. A strong, passionate, and definite desire is the engine that drives transformation from lack to abundance. Without desire, nothing begins. It is the spark that ignites vision, the fuel that keeps a person moving forward when obstacles appear, and the fire that burns away hesitation, fear, and doubt. Desire is not a wish or a fleeting thought. It is a deep emotional commitment to a result, so intense that it consumes the mind and demands expression. People who merely wish for success will never experience it, because wishing lacks the power of decision. But when someone desires success with intensity and clarity, the universe begins to respond. Desire is what pulls ideas from the invisible realm of thought into the tangible world of form. Every invention, every achievement, every leap forward in human history began as a desire in someone's heart. That desire grew stronger until it took over their thoughts, shaped their behaviors, and directed their energy with precision. They could see their goal with their eyes closed, feel it in their bones, and trust it with such faith that failure became irrelevant. This is the kind of desire that breaks the chains of limitation and attracts abundance like a magnet. Too many people have weak desires. They say they want more, but their desire is conditional. They want success, but only if it's easy. They want wealth, but not if it requires sacrifice. They want love, but only if there's no risk. True desire knows no conditions. It burns through resistance and keeps moving forward, no matter the difficulty. When a person decides that they will no longer accept a life of scarcity and instead demands abundance, not from others, but from themselves, something shifts within. The decision becomes a declaration, a line in the sand, and the individual begins to operate at a higher level of power. The stronger the desire, the stronger the focus. A definite desire cuts through distraction. It gives direction and purpose to each day. It tells the mind what to look for and what to ignore. It attracts ideas, people, and opportunities because the person carrying that desire is moving with such intensity that everything begins to align with their intent. Life begins to organize itself around that goal. Clarity of desire creates momentum, and that momentum leads to results. The person with a burning desire does not wait for motivation, they create it. Desire also gives resilience. When setbacks come, and they always do, it is desire that keeps a person going. It reminds them of why they started, and it refuses to let them quit. The individual who burns with desire sees failure as feedback, not as final. They adjust, adapt, and continue. They see their goal not as a possibility, but as a certainty waiting to be claimed. They move with a sense of urgency, not because they are desperate, but because they are driven by a deep knowing that abundance belongs to them, and that desire is the key to unlocking it. Faith is the invisible bridge between desire and reality. It is the mental and emotional power that sustains belief even when there is no visible evidence of progress. Without faith, desire remains a dream, a distant hope that is easily shaken by setbacks or the opinions of others. Faith is what transforms a vision into action and action into results. It is not passive. It is a force that energizes the mind, directs focus, and silences doubt. A person with faith moves differently. They speak with conviction, act with certainty, and radiate confidence even in the face of uncertainty. They don't need the world to agree with them. They only need to agree with themselves. Faith allows you to operate beyond logic. It enables you to trust in outcomes that haven't yet materialized and in opportunities you haven't yet seen. It's the understanding that reality is always catching up with belief. You don't have to know how everything will unfold. You only need to know that it will. Faith is not about blind optimism. It is about an inner assurance so strong that it overrides fear. While fear imagines the worst, faith envisions the best and compels you to act as if the best is already yours. This kind of faith must be built deliberately. It starts with the decision to believe, even when the odds appear stacked against you. It is strengthened through repetition, through affirmations, visualization, and mental rehearsal. Each time you think the thought, "I can," and each time you picture the life you want with clarity and emotion, you are feeding your faith. You are rewiring your brain to expect success instead of failure. Over time, those repeated thoughts become beliefs, and those beliefs shape your identity. The stronger your faith becomes, the less you are influenced by temporary setbacks or external noise. Faith also demands consistency. You cannot affirm abundance in the morning and dwell on lack in the afternoon. You cannot visualize success once and then give your energy to doubt for the rest of the day. Faith must become your dominant mindset. It must become the standard, not the exception. That means guarding your mind, choosing what you feed it, and deciding which voices you allow to influence your path. Surround yourself with messages, people, and environments that reinforce your belief in what's possible. Speak only words that are in harmony with what you want to experience. Think only thoughts that support your desired reality. When you have faith, you begin to act like the version of yourself who has already succeeded. You carry yourself with a different energy. You stop waiting for signs and start becoming the sign. You don't look to your circumstances for confirmation. You trust that your inner world is already creating the outer. That's when miracles begin to unfold. Opportunities appear where there were none before. Doors open, ideas flow, and things begin to work in your favor in ways that defy explanation. Not because the world changed, but because your belief changed, and that belief set everything else in motion. Thoughts alone are not enough. They must be backed by consistent, aligned action. You can think positively, repeat affirmations, and visualize your dreams every day. But if you never take meaningful steps toward your goal, you remain stagnant. The universe responds to movement. It meets you at the level of your commitment. Action is the physical expression of your belief. It's the bridge between intention and manifestation. When you take action, you demonstrate that you are serious about receiving the abundance you desire. You are showing, through your behavior, that your goals are not mere fantasies, but decisions you are committed to living out. Action also creates momentum. When you begin moving, even in small ways, energy begins to shift. Ideas flow more freely, confidence grows, and your belief deepens because you're no longer just imagining your vision. You're participating in its creation. Each step reinforces your identity as someone who takes responsibility for their life, who doesn't wait for the perfect moment, but moves with faith in imperfect conditions. And as you act, you begin to receive feedback from life. Sometimes it's progress. Sometimes it's challenge. But either way, that feedback becomes information that sharpens your path, helping you refine your strategy and adjust your course as needed. What matters most is that your actions are in harmony with the thoughts and emotions you've been cultivating. You cannot claim abundance mentally while making decisions rooted in fear. You cannot declare yourself worthy of wealth and then sabotage opportunities when they appear. Your actions must match your affirmations. Integrity between thought, feeling, and action is what accelerates manifestation. The more aligned you are, the faster things begin to move. Abundance doesn't respond to occasional effort. It responds to persistent energy directed with clarity and intention. There will be times when action feels uncomfortable. That is to be expected. Growth always lies just beyond the borders of comfort. When you're stepping into a new version of yourself, your old habits and fears will try to pull you back. But if you wait until you feel ready, you may never begin. The key is to act even when you're uncertain. Confidence is not a prerequisite for action. It is the result of it. The more you show up, the more you realize your power. The more you risk, the more you expand. Waiting delays abundance. Action activates it. Small actions matter. You don't have to take giant leaps every day. What matters is consistency. Send the email, make the call, write the page, speak the idea, take the first step. Every action is a vote for the future you're building. And each time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who follows through. Over time, your life becomes a reflection of the choices you made day by day, not just the thoughts you held in your mind. Real transformation is not just in what you think or feel. It's in what you do consistently. Gratitude and expectation are two of the most powerful emotional states you can cultivate when aiming to shift from scarcity to superabundance. They operate like energetic amplifiers, elevating your frequency and aligning you with the vibration of the life you want to live. Gratitude opens the heart, expands the mind, and shifts your focus from what is missing to what is already present. It is impossible to feel truly grateful and simultaneously feel lack, fear, or resentment. Gratitude shifts your energy instantly, reminding you that you are already in possession of blessings, resources, opportunities, and experiences that are valuable. And the moment you focus on what you have, you start to multiply it. Expectation, on the other hand, is the mindset that what you want is already on its way. It's not merely hoping, it's knowing. It's walking through your day with the awareness that the universe is working behind the scenes, arranging people, circumstances, and opportunities in your favor. Expectation is grounded in certainty, and that certainty signals readiness. Just as a farmer plants a seed and expects it to grow, even without seeing the roots beneath the soil, you must live with the inner conviction that your intentions are unfolding. This confidence doesn't come from what's already visible. It comes from trust in the process, in your power, and in the laws that govern abundance. Together, gratitude and expectation form a magnetic force. Gratitude affirms that you are already abundant, while expectation assumes that more is coming. When you live in this state, you become receptive. You stop blocking your blessings with worry, doubt, or desperation. Instead, you move through life with peace and positivity, knowing that your energy is attracting exactly what you're aligned with. You begin to speak differently, make decisions more confidently, and treat yourself and others with greater generosity. The outer world begins to mirror this inner harmony, and you find that what once felt distant or impossible begins showing up in surprising and sometimes effortless ways. Practicing gratitude requires mindfulness. It's not something that happens automatically. It must be chosen, especially in moments when things seem uncertain or challenging. But those are the moments where it is most powerful. Start by recognizing the small things: a breath, a meal, a kind word, a lesson learned. Let that recognition expand until your entire perspective shifts. Make gratitude a habit, not a reaction. Keep a journal, speak it aloud, or meditate on it daily. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes, and the more it rewires your brain to notice what's good instead of what's missing. Expectation also must be nurtured. Surround yourself with thoughts, images, and influences that reinforce your belief in the outcome you seek. Visualize your goals as if they've already happened. Feel the joy of receiving before anything has arrived. Carry yourself with the posture and energy of someone who is already living in their vision. The more vividly you expect, the more clearly you signal to the universe that you're ready. And the universe, in its perfect timing and precision, responds accordingly. Persistence is the unseen force that separates dreamers from achievers, the quiet determination that continues long after motivation has faded. It is the ability to keep moving forward, step by step, even when the results are not immediate and the road is unclear. Most people give up not because their goals are impossible, but because they lack the endurance to push through temporary setbacks. They start with enthusiasm, but when challenges arise or progress slows, they begin to question their path, doubt their worth, or change direction altogether. But those who persist understand that success is not a straight line. It's a winding journey that rewards the ones who refuse to quit. Persistence is not about perfection. It's not about getting everything right the first time or avoiding failure. In fact, failure is often an essential part of the process. Those who succeed are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who learn, adjust, and continue. Each setback becomes a stepping stone, each rejection a redirection, each obstacle a test of commitment. And each time you choose to continue, even when the path is hard or the results are invisible, you are building inner strength, resilience, and belief in yourself. You are proving to the universe that you are serious about what you want. Many people underestimate how long it takes to create meaningful change or manifest a new reality. They start strong, but their desire is conditional. They want quick results, instant feedback, and guarantees. When those things don't appear immediately, they interpret the delay as a sign to stop. But the truth is that the universe often works in silence before it reveals its rewards. Progress is happening even when you can't see it. Seeds are taking root underground long before they break the surface. If you give up too soon, you rob yourself of the harvest that was already on its way. Persistence is powered by purpose. When you are deeply connected to why you're doing what you're doing, quitting becomes less of an option. Purpose gives meaning to the struggle. It reminds you that the journey matters just as much as the destination. When your reason is strong enough, you'll find a way through any challenge. You'll keep showing up, refining your methods, deepening your faith, and trusting that your persistence will pay off in ways beyond your imagination. To be persistent is to take control of your life. It is to refuse to be defeated by external circumstances or internal doubts. It is to hold the vision steady, no matter how long it takes or how many times you fall. It's about getting back up one more time, taking one more step, trying one more approach. It's about moving with the belief that the result is inevitable as long as you do not stop. Persistence is not loud or flashy. It is consistent. It is the daily commitment to your dreams, even on the days when it would be easier to turn away. The most powerful shift you will ever make is the shift from thinking like a victim of circumstance to thinking like a creator of destiny. This transformation begins in the mind, where every belief, assumption, and internal narrative is either empowering you or holding you back. A victim mindset sees life as something that happens to them, something uncontrollable, governed by luck, fate, or the decisions of others. In this state, people feel powerless. They blame external factors for their lack of progress: the economy, their upbringing, their education, their environment. They wait for things to change, for someone to rescue them, or for the perfect moment to arrive. But life does not respond to waiting. It responds to intentional creation. The creator mindset is the complete opposite. It assumes responsibility for outcomes, regardless of the starting point. A creator understands that while they cannot control every event, they can control how they think, feel, respond, and move forward. They recognize that their thoughts shape their reality, their emotions influence their decisions, and their energy attracts people and experiences into their life. They don't waste time complaining or comparing. Instead, they ask better questions. What can I learn from this? How can I grow? What is this challenge trying to teach me? These questions shift their focus from limitation to possibility. Adopting the role of creator requires a willingness to let go of excuses. It means acknowledging that while the past may have influenced you, it does not define you. You begin to understand that your power lies in the present moment, and the choices you make today are building your future. Every action, no matter how small, becomes an intentional step in the direction of your vision. You stop waiting for external validation and start acting as though your success is inevitable. This shift also changes how you interpret setbacks. In a victim mindset, failure feels personal and permanent. In a creator mindset, failure is simply information. It's feedback that helps refine your approach and strengthen your resilience. You stop seeing obstacles as signs to quit and start viewing them as tests of commitment. When you embody the creator, you realize that everything is working for you, even the detours, delays, and disappointments. You are no longer at the mercy of life, you are actively shaping it. The creator mindset is a lifelong practice. It takes self-awareness, discipline, and courage. But once you step into this identity, everything changes. You stop shrinking to fit into old patterns and start rising to meet your potential. You walk with intention, speak with purpose, and act with clarity. You begin to influence your environment instead of being controlled by it. You become a magnet for opportunities because you've aligned your mind, emotions, and energy with the truth that you are not here to survive. You are here to create. Abundance is not a product of luck or random chance. It is governed by universal laws that respond to alignment, intention, and energy. Those who live in a state of superabundance are not necessarily the most educated, the most talented, or the most connected. They are individuals who understand and apply the invisible principles that govern reality. These laws are not biased toward any person or background. They operate consistently, much like gravity. When you align with these laws, abundance becomes a natural outcome. When you ignore them, struggle becomes inevitable, regardless of effort or desire. This is why two people can work equally hard, yet produce radically different results. One is aligned, the other is not. One of the most foundational laws is the law of vibration. Everything in the universe is energy, and that energy vibrates at different frequencies. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs emit a vibration, and that vibration attracts experiences that match it. If you consistently dwell in fear, lack, and limitation, you align with the lower end of the energetic spectrum. If you consistently think thoughts of prosperity, joy, and empowerment, you move up the spectrum and begin to attract higher frequency experiences. The universe is not responding to your words alone. It's responding to the energy behind your words. You cannot fake vibration. You must feel it, live it, and become it. Another powerful law is the law of cause and effect. Every action produces a result. Nothing is isolated. When you take inspired action in alignment with your purpose, you activate this law in your favor. When you take action based on fear or desperation, you create resistance. Understanding this law means taking full responsibility for your results. Not blaming, not waiting, but recognizing that your outcomes are the fruit of the seeds you've planted through thought, emotion, and behavior. This awareness allows you to course, correct when needed, and to make intentional decisions that support your highest vision. The law of belief is equally crucial. What you believe to be true becomes your reality. If you believe money is hard to earn, that belief will shape your experience. If you believe opportunities are scarce, you will overlook or repel them. But if you adopt empowering beliefs, ones that affirm your worthiness, capability, and alignment with abundance, your life begins to reflect those beliefs. The mind is incredibly powerful, and when it is trained to believe in abundance as your natural state, the universe reflects that truth back to you in the form of people, ideas, and situations that support your growth. The universe is structured to support expansion. It does not reward struggle. It responds to clarity, commitment, and emotional alignment. Those who live in abundance are not waiting for good fortune to arrive. They are consciously creating their reality by aligning with the laws that govern success. They understand that luck is simply alignment meeting opportunity. They respect the process, trust the timing, and invest in their mindset as much as their strategy. Because they know that abundance is not something to chase, it is something to tune into, something that responds to who you are being in every moment. Your environment plays a profound role in shaping your beliefs, habits, and ultimately, your results. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you engage in, the content you consume, and the energy you allow into your space either support your growth or slowly drain it. Most people underestimate the influence of their surroundings. They think they can rise above negativity while remaining immersed in it. They believe they can think abundantly while constantly hearing messages of lack, fear, and limitation. But just as a plant cannot thrive in toxic soil, your mind cannot flourish in an environment that contradicts your vision of abundance. Energy is contagious. Every interaction is an exchange. When you surround yourself with individuals who speak in scarcity, who doubt every possibility, who ridicule ambition, and who constantly expect the worst, you begin to internalize those frequencies. Over time, they shape your thoughts and dull your drive. On the other hand, when you engage with people who think big, speak life into your dreams, and reflect your highest potential, your mindset elevates. You begin to adopt their language, their confidence, their standards. You stop playing small because the environment no longer supports smallness. You start to believe in the possibility of your dreams, not just because you think them, but because you see them modeled in those around you. It's not only people that influence your inner world. Everything from the media you watch, to the books you read, to the space you live in carries energy. If your physical space is filled with clutter, disorganization, and reminders of past failure, it subtly reinforces confusion and stagnation. But when your space is intentional, clean, and aligned with your goals, it becomes a mirror of your inner clarity and direction. Your environment must be a place where your vision feels supported, not sabotage. Creating a high-frequency environment is a conscious process. It means setting boundaries, letting go of relationships that drain you, and intentionally building connections that uplift you. It means choosing to consume content that expands your thinking rather than shrinks it. It means designing a space, mentally, physically, and emotionally, that aligns with the version of you who already lives in abundance. You don't rise above your environment, you rise with it. So if you want to attract a life of superabundance, start by curating an environment that reflects that energy. When your surroundings are in harmony with your vision, momentum accelerates, confidence grows, and the gap between who you are and who you're becoming begins to disappear. The journey from scarcity to superabundance begins within. It's not about waiting for life to hand you more. It's about tuning your thoughts, beliefs, and energy to match the life you truly desire. When you shift your frequency, you shift your reality. You stop surviving and start creating. You stop hoping and start knowing. And in that knowing, you unlock the abundance that's been waiting for you all along.